Well, good evening. You're very welcome to the Masters Championship round number 10 of Division 2 here at Silverstone. My name is Graham and I'm going to do the best to bring my action to you tonight from a track that is just, well, one of the most revered of the Formula 1 calendar is, of course, Silverstone, the British Grand Prix. So there's a little technical hiccup, but hopefully now that's all in the past and we can get cracking on. Two Mercs at the moment, highlighting 1 and 2, Merc ahead of Wesker. So we shall see how that holds up come the end of qualifying, but I'm just going to read out the standings very briefly, very quickly. As laps come flying in, we'll stick with someone who isn't who's on a flying lap. Let's go Captain Chubbs. So at the moment, top of the table is SH, who is not here tonight, so a chance for Dan Morris in second place to gain some ground. SH on 127 points, Dan Morris on 81. He's got Venom in third on 71, and then behind him a nice little three-way battle in a sense. They're fighting for third place as well. TMC Wesker 68 points, Weiberg 67 points, and Burton on 60 points. In the constructors, Ferrari lead the way by 1 point on 128 ahead of Toro Rosso 127, and then a close little scrap between third, fourth and fifth, with Red Bull being 103, McLaren 102 and Williams on 93 points. So we shall see how it all unfolds tonight. Williams looking good so far for running 1 and 2, but it is very early days. Of course, at the moment, of course, 12 minutes left. We shall see how it holds up, but here one of the few runners on the medium tyres. It is Captain Chubbs, and he rounds the final corner of Club, and he comes across line set to 28.2, which is the slowest of anyone who's set a lap time at this current stage, and everyone pretty quickly back into the pits. Going board with Sway as he's on an out lap, as most other people are in the pits, as he carefully negotiates his way. Down the hangar straight. A difficult lap to get this one hooked up correctly. It's easier said than it's harder than you would think. We'll go through it with Sway. As he rounds Club, and we'll go on board as he heads down towards Abbey then. Turn 1. Easy to cut though, easier than you think to cut. Wide entry, takes a bit of curb, that's what you want to do. Nice tight line as you head towards Village. A difficult corner to get right, you want to get on the throttle too quickly, whereas you do face the wrong way and through the loop. Conservative exit for Sway as he gets on the power. Try and take a bit of that curb as you head through Aintree and then down the Wellington Straight as you approach Brooklands. Corner, they can't float back out and back in, and then through Woodcut again. Same kind of story. Nice upshift there into fourth. It's easy to lose the back end. Nice tight line as now you head towards the old turn 1 cops. Shift down to 7th, a little bit of understeer. It doesn't quite hit the curb, but does manage to actually still keep within the confines of the track limits. And through the iconic Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel Flat down to 7th. Downshift twice and 3 times, even to get a little extra rotation as he heads through down the hangar straight this time. Better complete the lap, heading up to Stowe, where you don't want to exceed the track limits. Drivers have been warned about that. A little bit of extending there from Sway, but here he comes in down to the final 2 corners, which are Club and Vale, and he comes across the line and sets a 27.7. He'll need a bit more if he wants to stick within the top 10. Couple of reserves tonight. SJP here making his return to TMC as a reserve in place of SH, and the other Ferrari of TMT Yarm, I believe, also not here today. So unsafe release also reserving here in the Renault, as well as the aforementioned Captain Chubbs, who is into the pits. So the two Williams pair back out again. Wesker ahead of Merc this time, separated by just a few tenths. Expecting to see quite a few times into the 26s, but we'll see how that develops. Merck's obviously got us underway, but yeah, we shall see what the story is now. I am wondering if there is some rain in the offing, because I was just noticing before the stream started that the drivers took a long time to come out onto the track, which normally, if it's a dry race, you have your setup obviously, and you can just load it and head out. But there was a decent bit of waiting before anyone came out onto the track, and it's unsafe release for tyres there. Colours, just to mention, in the kerfuffle, was disqualified for, I think, facing the wrong way. I can confirm that in a sec. We'll just wait till the Williams pair are done with their flying laps. Wesker then heading down the hangar straight. Oh, there he is. There's a Renault unsafe release into the barrier after Chapel. So there you go then. Because it's easy when you get onto the grass and then you just kind of go around easier than you think. But here you go then for Wesker as he heads through the final two corners, through Vale and then through Club. On the throttle using that medium TC. He's going to pop into 26s, and he's just 9 thousandths or so slower than his teammate. But is that going to matter? Because no, his teammate does improve by 600ths of a second. And there you go then, or 500 seconds rather, and continues to hold the top of the table here, the qualifying table. Venom then going to get third as John heads into the pits. A couple of more laps flying in, see if he can pick up any. Ooh, there's a Ferrari going very wide. That's SJP smashing the polystyrene. Burt looks like he's on a lap. His teammate not too far behind him either, actually in front of him. See what the Toro Rosso pair, I should say, can do. As into the pits, Peels, IoT Matter, and Team Z's Zlatan pops up into third place ahead of his teammate. So Williams lockout on the front row, followed by a Red Bull. Can Weiberg get himself amongst the mix? No, he can't. Only 12th fastest for Weiberg, and Burt can only go a few places higher than that at 27.5 for Burt. As Timo's is a 27.4 as he crosses the line. Dan Morris has popped into 5th, 27.2. I do wonder if, again, possibly, because I know a number of these guys can do 26s, I do wonder if there's maybe a wet setup being run, and that's why we're seeing a few cars a little bit off the pace. But again, we'll find out when, obviously, qualifying ends 6 minutes from now. Come with Focky. In the Haas, speaking of his teammate, to just confirm, yes, facing the wrong way was Colours, and that's why he was disqualified. So there you go. Let's see Focky's line through Mackets, Beckett's and Chapel. Oh, he may have straddled over the line there, and that might be an invalidation, but it looks like he's going to continue on. He's 10th up on this time, which would only actually wouldn't be anywhere near good enough to improve on his time. In 15th place, his best time coming still on the softs, and he does put it into the pits, so I did suspect that may have been over the limit, and sure enough, that's how it was. Dan Morris peeling into the pits. He is. Timo is on the in lap, as well as are both Toro Rossos. So Chos would leave as the next man up. Now on softs, having originally said his time on mediums, but again, no one's going to try and complete this time on mediums, especially if it's a wet race, then even more so. No point completing on the set of mediums, and it's 27.4 for Captain Chubbs. Just a few spots behind his teammate Tom Pretty. But he's into the top 10 regardless. And speaking of Tom, he's on a lap, just having started it as he heads through the first sector and through Village. Fourth gear, go through the loop. Down towards Brooklyn, so a bit of a slide. And again through Woodcut. So you kind of, there's a few different ways you can go about going through that corner. Some people like to drift out and then come back in. Others like to keep a tight line. I personally prefer, even if you have to come out and back in. 8th gear, flat, almost flat through there for Tom. Pretty interesting approach. Most people go through 7th through Cops, but you went through 8th there, so must be running a very high amount of downforce. His teammate gets out of the way. And then again, was that just over the line for Tom Pretty? Oh, I'm not sure if that's an invalidation or not. But he heads down the hangar straight. And through Stowe. Keeps him in the confines of the track. He's going to try and finish this lap then. Number 9, Mercedes. Running out of ERS though, so I'm guessing he's running overtake down the straights, and he's run out of ERS, but he does improve So 27.3, and that puts him into 4th place, or sorry, 6th place rather, ahead of John O'Here, who's on a flying lap now as well. McLaren going through Cops. Let's just see how he takes Maggots and Beckett's. A little bit of a lift down to 6th, taking the curb. 5th gear, it's so tidy through there from Jono, and is quicker on his current time as well by a 10th or so. So it could be a good chance for Jono to pop ahead of his teammate and into the top 5. We shall see as he rounds Stowe at the final 2 corners of the track, and he's actually into the pit, so maybe invalidated somewhere, or just maybe want to come back in, get a fresh set of tyres on, because if he had completed that lap he wouldn't have had enough time to come back out again to complete a lap with just 3 minutes remaining. So anyone who's on the track now basically who's just started the lap is basically in that same boat unless they if they don't come in. So Team D's Zlatan here, for example. Sorry, this is Venom on the lap. The other Red Bull, who's in 4th place at the moment. Merck's been on that lap forever. He's just better come to the line now as Sway is out of this session. P15 for Sway. He's going to be well down the field. But it can only fall 2 more places if that's any consolation at this stage. Only Focky and either team Matter can go quicker at this stage, so not a ton lost here, to be fair, for Sway. I see Venom then coming through sector, just coming at the end of sector 2, nice and tight, nice and clean. Doesn't dip a toe onto the grass, and that's a good sector time for Venom. This is going to be a good lap here if he can complete it through sector 3. 3/10 up on his time would take him close to where Merck is. And a nice clean Stowe as well. This could be a good lap then for Venom. Can we see something in the mid 26s? Let's find out. As he rounds the final turn, Venom, can he go in provisional pole? He can. It's a 1:26.817, marginally in front of Merck, who I think has bottled that lap. Yes, he has. Just a bit messy there from Merck heading through Maggots and Beckett's, and I think that's it for his qualifying, as his teammate is struggling to keep the confidence of the track on his lap. Everyone then on an out lap basically, apart from Merck and Venom, who of course just completed their laps. Now, can Merck actually get enough ERS saved to go for another run? He might have a chance here, to be fair. He's going to have time, but now he may not have the fuel, and maybe that's why he is peeled into the pits then. So who's first then on the lap? I think it's going to be Team D's Zlatan, so we'll go on board with the Red Bull and see where we can go from there. In 4th place at the moment, he's got a good opportunity for some good points here, and if he can further improve on his time at the moment, then you know, never know what's possible for Adam as he rounds through the loop and then out through Aintree to the Wellington straight then. See if he's making any gains on his previous time as he ends sector 1. Not sure if he's up or down on his time at the moment, as you see Wesker then coming through as well. So, but we'll stick with the Red Bull. I believe he'll be the first one to complete the last flying lap with only 20 seconds to go. Checker flag will be out any moment now. And another lift from Adam as he heads through Cops. We'll have compromised his time. Find out. With a shift down to 7th, lift in, it's going down to 4th, no, keeps it through 5th. Nice and tidy. And checker flag is now out. Merck and Venom already done. Can anyone knock them off the front row? Adam will be the first to try, and then see what Wesker and company can do. Final 2 corners as checker flag is out. Across the line, it's not an improvement for Adam. Sorry, 26.9 for Adam, but he can't lift himself into the top 3. Speaking of, Wesker in the top 3 at the moment has a chance to get pole position here if he can improve on his current time. All he needs is less than a 10th, and he can take pole position here. Wesker crosses the line, and it is an improvement, but it's not enough of an improvement. He is just a few thousandths slower than his teammate Merck. Whereas Dan Mars, he's coming across the final corner. Burt goes up into 6th place. Dan Mars stays in 8th. So Dan couldn't find enough of improvement to jump up the field. Who's next? Focky comes across the line. He's at 14th. Gets the job done there. Well, again, he moves ahead of Sway anyways. Jono then, can he improve? He can't. Top 5 for Jono, but not pole position. That is going to go to Venom. So good stuff then for Venom rather to secure pole position. And he leads the way ahead of Merck in second, Wesker third, Alman fourth, Jono fifth, Adi Baba jumped up to sixth in the end, Burton seventh, Mark the Man eighth, Dan Morris ninth, Tom Pretty round to the top 10 with SJP, Timo, IoT Masher jumped up some places in the end, Focky, Captain Chubbs, Weiberg with a disappointing qualifying session for him, he's got a lot of work to do in the race, Sway 17th, Unsafe Release in 18th and Colours in 19th. So, predictions, thoughts? I'm going to guess it's a wet race. No, it's not. Okay, wow, I thought we'd see qualifying times a lot lower then. Maybe there might be rain on the offing in the distance, but we'll see. We shall see how this will all unfold over the next 26 laps. Should be interesting to see. Williams paired quite nicely on the grid. We shall see if they can launch an attack on the Red Bull in front of them. And we have the formation lap to come. This car just disappear on the grid. And I don't think tyre situation will be too interesting to note, but there you go. SJP in 11th place, it might be one to watch on mediums. The rest from 16th onwards, Weiberg, Sway, Unsafe Release, Colours, all on mediums. Outside the top 10, you've got Focky, Captain Chubbs, Matter, and Timo, all on softs outside the top 10. So looking for an aggressive start then. No one obviously on hards. And Dan Morris, okay, he sat on the grid for being a naughty boy. Let's see his helmet. Well, Dan, I'm not going to lie, it's a bold choice for the McLaren, I'm not going to lie. It could be worse. I mean, yeah, it could be worse. So anyways, interestingly, it's not too often in TMT you find, and even league racing in general, you find kind of top 4 places, between the just two constructors, two teams. But that's what we have here with the Williams then sandwiching the Red Bulls. Jono in a good spot as well. Adi Baba in a nice little spot as well. Dan Myers, his work cut out for him. Good qualifying for Alfa Romeo, to be fair. Mark Demand also in the top 10. SJP is going to be an interesting one to watch. His progress in the first part of the race will be interesting. How much time he might lose on those mediums. Is he going to be swallowed by the 3-4 soft runners behind him? All in good time. So his start critical. It's not the longest run down to turn 1, but I'm sure there'll be some action heading on to the Wellington Straight. But Venom then rounds Club to take his spot on the grid, with Merck and Wesker behind him, and then Adam and Jono rounding out the top 5. Should be an interesting race. Yesterday certainly was, and if we get anything of the same today, will be an interesting one. Wesker in an interesting spot here. Of course, turn 1, you take it at such high speed, it's running side by side can be very risky to your race. Contact is very common through the first 2-3 corners. Let's see then how they can find themselves through. It's Silverstone Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. 5 red lights and away we go. Looks like a decent little start for Merck. He's going to be alongside Venom. He'll go down the inside into turn 1. Not quite, has to file in. As the rest of the field then seem to get through relatively cleanly as they head down towards Farm. and the loop. They all seem to have got through quite nicely. Adam fighting alongside with John. There's a yellow flag down below, and of course Dan Mars looks like he's lagged out or something has happened there, but Mark the Man and Bert then. Bert getting by Adi Baba then in front, looking very closely towards Jono and Adam. Adam keeping that position then ahead of Jono as they round Brooklands and Woodcote for the first time, then heading down towards the old turn 1. Yellow flag, and that sways off the track, spinning round. I'm not sure if he had contact with unsafe release, but we go on, and Adam over the twitch heading out of Cops. John, I'm not quite close enough to make a move. Adi Baba watching this with keen interest. Bert, Mark the Man, very, very close as well as they head through. Maggots, Beckett's a chop for the first time tonight. Venom still leading ahead of Merck, Wesker, Team T's Zlatan, John. None of the top 5 have changed positions, but now Mark the Man's towing his teammate, looking for a way through. Will he just allow him to go by? You see Tom Pretty and another team Matter having a little scrap as well. Mark the Man goes through. Ooh, the overspeed almost caught Adi Baba unawares, and Bert trying to find a way along the outside as well. Can't quite do it because he's got SJP close to him as well. SJP trying to go around the outside of Club, and he files in, and Venom sets the fastest lap of the race, of course being the first one to cross the line. He's got 8 tenths to himself and Merck. As Tom Pretty going wide. Is that going to compromise him? No, he's got enough of a gap between himself and our team matcher, so it's a good start for SJP on those mediums. See how he files in then to the rest, goes down the inside onto Bert. A bit of a risky one there, it compromises him, and Tom Pretty going to be right there now to try and make a move. No DRS of course through these first 2 laps as the Mercedes pulls over to the left hand side. Can SJP fight this one? Soft tyres for the Mercedes. And he goes down the inside, we have the inside then for Woodcote. And Tom just trying to out-traction him around the outside with the better tyres. Softer compound tyres, and he gets that move. That's a beautiful move. Sorry, he's still behind rather. I'm looking at it's good defence rather. As they head towards Cops and Focky looking to try and make a move as well, pulling up to the right hand side. But still, this battle rages on. And our team Matter close behind this as well as Timo. So they head through then. No real change at the front then as they get ready to activate their DRS. No one at this moment in time outside the DRS apart from Sway in 18th there, and obviously Dan in 19th. So at the front then, still leading the way is Venom. 2 Mercedes following him through, but we'll see how these Mercedes handle themselves in the race. They qualify well, but generally speaking they struggle to follow it up in the race, and Captain Chu's trying to do a little switch back there on Timo. It's just behind Matter, and there is the DRS. No DRS zone down this main straight this year, so just the 2 zones down towards the Wellington straight and the Hangar straight. That's a decent run, but you can't get the move done. They're all tiptoeing around, and see who's going to be the first one in a spot of bother. Possibly Bert, but gets a good run out of Aintree to be fair, and shouldn't be any under immediate danger. It's just one giant DRS tray at the moment. The first person who drops out of it is going to be the one in the most danger, and at the moment you have to say it's Mark the Man who's just dropped out just now of that DRS zone, and he's just teetering on that edge. And if he drops out, then he could be in trouble to his teammates. Oh, there's a Haas in the wall. That's the colours heading out of Woodcote, and he is out of this race. And will that bring out any safety car, any safety car, any VSC or something? It'd be interesting at this phase of the race. Would it change a lot? Probably not. Not at this stage, but at the moment, nothing of the sort to deal with that Haas. And there is a safety car. There is a safety car deployed. So there you go then. Once he left the session, the safety car is out. Now then, decisions. Surely a set of hards would be a good call at this stage, given how that Silverstone is it's a track with such a long pit, that surely this is the best time to come in for a set of hards, go to the end of the race. We have some people diving in. Timo, Captain Chubbs, Focky and Dan Morris looks like they've taken the plunge. I think it's the absolute right thing to do. Sorry, I say that, yeah, put on a set of hards and go to the end of the race. Everyone had the option to, though. That's the thing, everyone had the option to come into the pits. Decided not to, and hard compound tyres flying around. Medium tyres for Timo. That's going to be close. They should get to the end. Sway's in as well, Dan Morris in as well. Mediums for those two. Okay, so some split decisions then. I do think Ascend Mediums can go to the end, but obviously hard to be a little bit safer in that regard. 20 laps on mediums by the time safety car comes in, lap 6 or 7. Yeah, doable. We'll see how it goes, but I do think definitely the right decision to come into the pits and go long, because obviously it takes about 30 or so seconds, more than that, because you're cutting the entire last 2 corners of the pit lane basically, so that's why it starts so far back and it's so slow that it just might be worth it. So now all of a sudden, so Dan Mars, who had obviously disconnected there at the start of the race, all of a sudden I think is right back into it with that safety car. See if anyone else pits this lap to try and make up for that. We don't know when the safety car is going to peel in. Usually they give 2 or so laps for these things, but we shall find out then. So not a whole lot changed really in that first phase of the race. A couple of places made up for Mark Demand and SJP, but the top 5 staying relatively the same. No sign of safety car coming in this lap. Seeing how they're all behaved. Of course, guys who pitted obviously had to try and make their way back up to the back of the grid. Sway's just the last one, I believe, to do it. She's a little bit further behind than the rest. Now then, is anyone going to take the plunge? Venom, no. They're going to stay out. Anyone coming in? Doesn't look like it. As I would say for Lisa and Weiberg there. Overtake happening there. So none of these guys then coming into the pits then. So you'd have to say that's our last chance to really come in and make that decision. So that's going to be interesting, because honestly the soft compound tyre, your pit stop is about what, 5 or so laps away from now. I just don't understand why you wouldn't just come in for a set of hards. Even if it's not the most amazing tyre, it's certainly one that will get you to the end of the race at the very least. So I think unless we see another safety car, of course, I think Timo, Chubbs, Focky, Dan and Sway played their cards brilliantly here, and more shenanigans under safety car. But no sign of penalties or anything of the sort yet for overtaking, or none for speeding anyways. A drive through would be the penalty given for that. So yeah, interesting choice for sure. They all have the option to come in, but none choosing to do so at the front. And well, it's a long time left in this race. Of course, we saw a second safety car in Division 1 yesterday, so anything could happen. But I do think a trick has been missed by the majority of the grid. But we'll see. We will see how it goes. I'm expecting the safety car to come in this lap. As the soft runners won't have a ton of problems keeping their tyres up to temperature, but the hards may be a little bit more difficult to get up to racing temperature. But you know, it's gonna be big. This is the big opening lap, I think, for Dan and Sway. If they can negotiate the 2 cars on hards, Focky and Chubbs, relatively quickly, I think they could be in good shape. And the safety car is in this lap. Of course, important to mention, DRS I believe won't be enabled for the next 2 or so laps. Again, same procedure as the start of the race, basically, once the safety car comes in. Although the real life Grand Prix of Mods, I believe it was re-enabled straight away after the safety car came in. Certainly, oh sorry, I'm thinking of the F2 race rather. Anyway, safety car peels in, and it's up to Venom then to dictate the pace. Change for this year, of course, you can't overtake at that safety car line that Merck just passed. It is, of course, a start-finish straight. But here we go then. Away we go. Adam and Jono scrapping away already. And now we are racing once again, and Jono's got a good run on Adam. Oh, Mark Demand is facing the wrong way then as well, so Mark Demand had an accident of a sort. After safety car restarts, Adi Baba going off. Oh, Mark Demand then out of this race. That's a shame for Focky as well, so I'm guessing there is contact between Focky and Mark Demand. And that takes out one of the hard runners then, who had just come into the pits. That just releases that aspect then as unsafe release. Timo, Captain Chubbs nipping through I should say, as 2 Williams drivers get very, very close. Merck still ahead of Wesker for the time being, so that's a great shame. Then just after the restart, 2 cars were tiring there. Mark Demand in a great position on track, and then Focky had just pitted, so that's disappointing, but the race must carry on. Lap 6 of 26, of course, good opportunity to save some ERS throughout that process, and fuel as well, so I don't suspect fuel will be a problem anymore for the rest of this one. Ooh, Wesker get onto the grass just a bit there. Burt close behind Adibaba as well, and that's for P6 now, so Adibaba running well, and SJP running decently as well, but we'll see then what the story is. None of those medium runners behind have negotiated Captain Chubbs just yet. Important to do so, as Chubbs is already a second behind Timo, who actually did manage to get through. Matter then making the move on Tom Pritchie, that's for P9, both on softs, and Tom Pritchie will have to try and fight around the outside, but that's easier said than done. I think Matter has got that move done, moves up into 9th place then, as Tom looking for a way back through, but have to rely on his own slipstream and DRS. Oh, exactly, Captain Chubbs around. Captain Chubbs is around. So has he lost traction out of that last corner, or was there some contact involved unsafely? He's got a 3-second penalty now as well. That helps then Dan and clear that car, and his Sway hasn't been able to clear it just yet. He's behind unsafe release. He's got wing damage. No, not yet. Oh, not yet, sorry. He hasn't got wing damage. It's happened plenty of times this season, but he hasn't got it right now. But he has to negotiate unsafe release, who's yet to make a stop, obviously. And he needs to get this move done quickly, does Sway, because he's losing time to those in front. And now Focky has left the session after his retirement. I suspect he ran into Mark Demand, or Mark Demand maybe rejoined unsafely. Hard to say, as SJP picks up a penalty. I think that's the first one inside the top 10. There's Sway. I think he has got past unsafe release, and he got that before Maggots and Beckett's. So he moves up into 15th place then, but he will be a lot higher to watch when obviously these guys make their stops, and no sign of any activity yet at the front for pit stops. Will be for a few more laps at the very least, as lap 7 and Venom with the DRS now enabled after the safety car has pulled out 1.2 seconds ahead of Merck, who hasn't broken DRS yet on his teammate, who is quite close there. You can see, not quite close enough to make a move, but certainly still close enough to hang it out within the DRS. And similar story then down from 4th place onwards, from Adam, Jono, Adibaba, Burt and SJP, and even Matter. You know, it's a big train, and it all starts really from Adam. Everyone else is DRS behind. Any sign of an overtake occurring in this section of the track? Not really. So again, DRS, just one big DRS train is kind of proving hard for guys just to try and get by. SJP possibly will find himself with a bit more of opportunity as the tyres come towards him a little bit later on in this stint. He's pulling close to Burt. Has to get on the brakes a little bit there, coming through Cops as Burt goes a little bit wide. Not sure if that was going to be a warning, but Matter right there as well, and Weiberg in an interesting position as well on the mediums. Of course, yet to make a pit stop. You can see, just for confirmation, there you go then, Timo, the furthest forward of guys who have made a stop, and really, you'd have to say, in contention for this race win, I do believe, as they round Stowe once again. And no sign of activity into the pit, so I do believe Tom Pritchie is diving in then on his softs, gets the car slowed down in time, and he's the first then of these guys to make a scheduled pit stop, rather, in racing conditions. As you can see there, Wesker got within 4/10 there of his teammate, and just over half a second behind as Venom continues to pull away. And Dan then making the move on Timo. That is, I think, for the effective race lead once everyone comes into the pits. And that's a big move in the context of this race. A big move indeed. But Dan's exit wasn't the best out of the loop in Aintree, but he's going to be far enough forward and with DRS to withhold any challenge that Timo might want to throw on him. There's a wing change going for Captain Chubbs, who would have been held, I believe, by his teammate as well, who obviously just came into the pits. 1.8 is the gap at the front, as Wesker and Merck have just dropped Adam there 2 seconds in front of the Red Bull, who's got plenty of company in the form of Jono, Adibaba, and of course the rest of these cars following along. Although I think Adibaba's made a mistake somewhere, and he's just dropped out of DRS range of Jono. Might be a good opportunity for Jono and Adam to drop the following pack, so to speak. But again, Wesker just a bit too far behind Merck this time round, and he can't quite make an overtake. But speaking of overtakes, Burt, Adibaba going around the trying to defend the inside. Burt going around the outside as Adibaba peels into the pits along with Merck, along with Adam as well. They all slow down in time. So an undercut of sorts being skated by Merck, and obviously then maybe Adibaba might get a position or two as well. But because Weiberg running very close then to Dan, who's got by Timo in that last lap. Timo just dropping back a little bit in terms of positions. Now sandwiched by someone who's yet to make a stop in the front. Bert then still half a second ahead of SJP. His tyres not quite following away to where Bert is being under immediate pressure from SJP. So where these guys emerge then. So there's Merck, Adam, Adibaba then. So they're over nearly 20 seconds or so behind Dan, who has of course made a pit stop and should be going to the end of this race. Actually just dawned on me that Captain chose to make a second stop then, so there's now no one on hards who pitted under the safety car because Focky retiring from this race then. So it is just Sway, Timo and Dan, I believe, who are that trio of cars who pitted under the safety car for tyres that should go to the end of the race. Any sign of a response at the front? Venom's going to carry on, but Wesker is coming into the pits as well as Jono, Bert, Matter, and obviously SJP will carry on. So now then, oh, Weiberg's got a problem somewhere. Has he had a chat with a wall, or he's certainly had a spin of some sort? Because he's now well behind Jono and the likes of Timo as well. Sorry, Jono's just coming into the pits. So where's Merck then? Where's Merck? May as well follow this. I know Matter's getting close to SJP, but this is important. Where these guys will emerge. Medium tyres obviously for that trio of cars that pitted, Wesker, Jono and Burt. But where did they come out then in comparison to Merck, who's just coming across the start finish line? Wesker then just filing out of the pit lane. Merck will sweep through. Merck will keep the position. What about Adam then, who is a little bit further behind? He's still behind Wesker, but ahead of Jono and Adibaba and Bert still side by side as they come out. Bert having just come out of the pits. Adibaba had a chance to warm up his tyres with a lap, and Adibaba still ahead, or rather back ahead of Bert after Bert obviously made the overtake earlier in the race. So there you go then, or at least Bert made an overtake on Alfa Romeo, I'm not sure which one, but Adibaba is ahead of Bert, and there's Tom Pretty just behind as well. Got 2 laps to Tom Pretty on his tyres, and he's a little bit closer now to the action perhaps than he was before he pitted, as Venom then rounding Stowe. Lap 11 of this race, he's going to come into the pits then. I think he had a safe enough margin, to be fair. Can he slow down in time? He can. He's got a nice little margin between himself and SJP, of course. Yet to pit on mediums, and either team Matter will come into the pits then as well. So they were, as they were basically between the two Williams drivers. Merck ahead of Wesker by just under a second, and then seems his lap times close up a little bit now of time. He's back within DRS range now of Wesker, who he was about 2 or so seconds behind this Williams pair. A little bit closer now, and then Jono, Adibaba, a little bit of separation now, and obviously Bert then right behind Adibaba then as well. Lap 12 of 26. Where is Venom as Merck puts in the fast lap of the race? Out comes Venom, and there is Merck, and obviously Venom had a decent little bit of gap, and now still holds a nice little healthy advantage ahead of the Williams pair. Dan Morris, how far? It's over 15 seconds really, isn't it, between himself and Venom. There it is then, nearly 20 seconds. So I think that's just further confirmation of the strategy blinder I think that a few cars have played today. But we'll see how it then all ends up. Of course, the safety car could come out and wreck that plan entirely. That's the last thing Dan, Timo and Sway would need, is a safety car to bring the pack back towards them. As Wesker a little bit closer to his teammate than he has been on previous laps. Merck getting a toe on the grass. Wesker's run through Maggots Beckett's a little bit cleaner this time round, and he's going to pull quite close, isn't he, with DRS, as Merck pulls over to the left hand side. Wesker, oh, Right, weird, just disconnected from the party randomly. I hope he's not an issue of PSN, because that would really annoy me. But Merck still ahead of Wesker. See Dan Marsh is closing up to the back of SJP as well, of course, yet to stop. This is probably one of the closer battles on track. Obviously, Bert right behind Adibaba as well. So, but Merck just seems to be just a little bit struggling this part of the race compared to his teammate. Yellow flag in sector 3. That is Captain Chubbs. He's into a wall once again. You can see two Williams very close now. I believe though this would be for 5th or so place, wouldn't it? 3 cars in front of them yet to pit. SJP, Unsafe Release, and Weiberg, who of course we know had a little chat with the wall, or at least some, maybe well, not the wall, but certainly spin earlier on. And Dan then ahead of SJP, but of course, excuse me, SJP yet to pit, and Dan Morris goes through to take the lead of the race. But the two Williams, Wesker just not getting the best run there through. Now gets Beckes and Chapel, and Adam's still 1.1 seconds behind, so he's close. Speaking of close, Bert a lot closer this time to make a move on Adibaba. I don't see the DRS activated though. Maybe it's a fault with the DRS, but he's going to go through anyways into P12. And easy enough then for Bert in the end. Adibaba trying to fight on the outside. He's still there, to be fair. Hung his car in there and stuck with it. And got the position back. So fair play to Adibaba. He got that position back. I thought he lost it, but was brave enough to stick his car in there still. Down the inside towards Vale. And he got the move done. He's back ahead of Bert into 12th place. But for how much longer? We shall see, as two Williams again close. Not close enough to Wesker to make, for Wesker to make a move rather. So we're going to stick with this battle here for P12. This will become a battle for the points once a couple of the guys pit in front. Unsafe Release, Weiberg and SJP. Yellow flag in sector 2. Oh, there's a big accident, and Timo and SJP are out of the race. I think SJP had a spin and Timo's gone barreling into him. I'm sure there's nothing he could have done. And that is 2 drivers inside the top 3 out of this race. SJP was yet to pit, but Timo's looking like he was on for a podium. And that's a big shock in this race then. SJP, does the tyres go? Did he lose it? I assume that's what happened. No sign of a safety car as of yet, and Sway and Dan will be praying at the front that there is no safety car. It looks like we're still green flag, as Wesker getting close then to his teammate. We'll see if there's a safety car deployed now that SGP's left the session. I think Dan and Sway might be in the clear, as Unsafe Release gets another 3-second penalty. So wow, that's a big surprise in this race then. SJP and Timo out of this race, and I think that just leaves Sway and Dan and the last 2 of the guys who pitted under the safety car. Everyone else has basically had their own accidents since then, as Burt picks up a 3-second time penalty. That won't do him any favours in this fight with Adibaba and of course Tom Pritchie, and either team Matter not too far behind that little scrap either, as Jono then has gotten a bit closer then to Adam in these last few laps, within a second with the DRS as well. Adam a bit further out of DRS range, and Wesker isn't being held up enough to the point where Adam can close up to the back and get within DRS of the Williams. And now Captain Chubbs into the pits and out of this race. Venom close to Weiberg as well. Of course Weiberg yet to pit, so we'll stick with the battle for a legitimate position. Guys who of course have made their stops. Lap 15 of 36. The gap between Dan and Venom is 17 seconds. Unless the degradation's that heavy around this track, Venom then going to go down the inside. Easy enough move in the end for him. Wesker getting close, not close enough. Adam safe for the time being against Jono. Yellow flag in sector 3. Oh, I think Matter's had a problem. I think Matter has had an accident, has he? No, he's just sorry, that's just he was just there anyways. It's that tight in the field that last place, you know, is so tight there, as Weiberg then comes into the pits. Adibaba and Burt going side by side, and Burt left the space, to be fair. He didn't have to, and that's going to give Adibaba the chance to just round. Oh, the contact was there. Oh, I thought he's going to lose the car, to be fair. And Burt just allowing the space there, just allowed Adibaba just to have the bear run down towards Abby, and he got through, to be fair. Sorry, I thought Team Matter had an accident there, but it's just this close that he's in last place, and that's just it's just that close. As Bert trying to make a reply to Adibaba to the outside, comes the inside then. See if Adibaba can traction himself around. Has Dan disconnected? No, sorry, he wouldn't have, because a new host would have been selected obviously when Dan left at the start of the race. But he he made a mistake there somewhere, because I thought the gap there close to a second for a second, but it is 5.5 seconds, and Bert's still holding on to P9. Wesker still chasing his teammate, but to no avail for the time being. So Tom and Matter very close into the back of this. And you can see there as they file through. Adibaba just lost a little bit of ground there heading through Chapel, and he's not close enough as unsafe release then comes into the pits, and he, I believe, is the last person to make a stop. He is, and so he should come out around where Weiberg is, maybe a little bit further behind. So then, lap 17 of 26, there is your situation. Sway and Dan comfortably where they are, thanks to the right decision to pitch under the safety car, and then Venom then leading the race before all that. 11 seconds behind, and he's just a few seconds ahead of Merck. Wesker then close behind him. We have Adam, second and a half behind that. He's got Jono for company, and then further back of that is a nice little 4-car scrap between Bert, Adibaba, Tom Pretty, and either Team Matter, all within a second of each other. But Adibaba's just going to drift outside of that, and then you have unsafe release and Weiberg then for P12. No points there for the time being. Jono's actually a bit closer to Adam this time around. Can he keep a nice little run through Cops? Just drifts a little bit further wide than Adam, and he's going to gain a little bit of time there as the Red Bull. But can he stick? Can he gain a little bit of more breathing room as they unwind onto the hangar straight? Arguably, this is Jono's best chance of the race so far to overtake Adam, and he's reeling in that Red Bull, who doesn't go defensive. Down the inside goes Jono. This is for P6, and it's a safe move in the end for Jono. Adam didn't really fight that one for some reason, as Wesker all over the back of his teammate. Of course, this has been the case now for a while. The battle for P4. They haven't got any penalties yet, the Williams pair, which is surprising, because that is their downfall. But still, it's one of the easier tracks to not get a penalty, and I say that as Jono picks one up then. Only, of course, you have to worry about really is Abbey, Cops, and then Maggots and Beckett's, but generally speaking, you don't see a ton of penalties around this track. But there you go, that's one for P6. And Adam maybe breathe a little sigh of relief, how easily, obviously, Jono went through. But now, he's got 3 seconds now, Jono, to try and pull away on Adam, see what he can do. Obviously now he has to try and break DRS first and foremost. After that, see what happens. There's a nice little gap between Bert and Adam, then the 5 seconds. So if he can't clear Adam, he won't be losing too much ground. But also tries to see if he can make up any ground then on this squabbling Williams pair. I have to say though, Wesker probably in better shape with his ERS. He's got a lot more to burn. And Damars into the pits. Well. And Sway in as well. I thought those tyres could go to the end. That is surprising. Did they start on mediums? No, Down's inside the top 10. And so is Sway. Like Sway's starting on soft as well. We'll look at that in a sec. Soft tyres for both of them, I'm going to assume. As Adibaba makes the move on Tom Pretty, who's trying to defend actually from Tom Pretty. And still ahead is the Alfa Romeo. That's a surprise now, I must be honest. Were the tyres really going to fall away like that? I thought the mediums could easily do that amount of those amount of laps. If that's the case, then why didn't they go with the hards? I have many questions as to that, but they both pit at the same time, which is curious. They are in the party. They are in the same party, so I'm gonna have to find out what the story of that was later. But really interesting. Then development that puts Merck and Wesker into the podium spots. Head scratcher that one, as Tom Pretty trying to push Alibaba under pressure. Actually go back to the Williams though, because they're right there. Wesker getting a little bit out of shape heading out of Cops. No, Tom Pretty's right there behind Alibaba as well. We're going to stick with this and battle for second place now. And opens the DRS, does Wesker. Doesn't choose to go into overtake mode. If he did, he'd be a lot closer to his teammate than he actually is. Because he gets close, but not close enough to make an overtake at this time. Very close there. As Tom Pretty sizing up a move then on Alibaba, who goes defensive. Tom Pretty going to take the long way round. Oh, contact! Alibaba's going to be sent round. Can Matter avoid him? Oh, he's just about. Well, they've avoided a massive collision there, accident, but I do think Matter coming through has just clipped the wing there of Alibaba. You can see the damage to the right hand side there. So Alibaba did not get away with that, and Dan Mars nips through as well. So there is Dan then. He could get back up to 6th place or so, but we'll see what he can make up on his tyres. Meanwhile, Wesker ever closer to Merck now. And now they try to go for the overtake. I'm not sure why he isn't in overtake mode, but he's trying to file in behind his teammate. I'm not sure why. He could have definitely gone for the overtake there. And not a million miles in front of Jono and Adam, so if Wesker is being held up here, they're going to bring Jono and Adam within their DRS range quickly here. So I thought the best course of action may have been to let Wesker go. As they follow then through Mackett and Beckett then for the 20th time in this race. Venom just 2.3 seconds up the road, so if there was a penalty to occur, it would make things very interesting. As Dan then now having to side through some traffic. He's got Matter in front of him, he's got DRS on Tom then, but can the softs just give him the outright traction he needs, that even despite DRS he'll be able to get by as Tom goes defensive. Dan has to be careful. It's a dangerous part of the race for Dan, and obviously Sway as well, not to damage their wings. Goes down the inside into Vale, and he moves up into 8th place, and Alibaba's going to come to the pits, and he's going to replace his tyres, or his wing rather, and his obviously his tyres, and well, that ruins any chance for points finishing. That's unfortunate for Alibaba. He's racing quite well, but contact made, and then nothing he could do then to avoid either team Matter, as Dan then goes down the inside of Tom Pushy. He's going to be for P7, and he'll have DRS then to boot as well, and there you go then, down into 7th place, and try and make up some of those points that he lost when he pitted. I'm still bemused by that, like I really am. I just, yeah, unless they underestimate the softs going to the end, or the mediums going to the end. We'll be interested to see what Chubbs, and as Alibaba retires then, we'll be interested to see what Chubbs and Focky could have done with their hards. I do think they would have gone to the end, and that's a shame then, we won't get to know. Obviously Focky having an accident with Mark Demand after well, not long after the restart, and then Captain Chubbs had some sort of wing damage somewhere along the way, had to pit for a new nose, and eventually retired as well. Lap 21, Venom about to begin lap 22. Things are just quieting down a little bit here. Will that be a safety car, I wonder? Just curious with the obviously with the timing, and then you know, the retirement, and then when you leave the session, does seem to bring out the safety car. But there you go then, green flag racing still. Jono still hunting, or sorry, still trying to get away from Adam, but again with the DRS it's hard to break away, and Adam's sitting in a nice little position at the moment. With Jono, obviously we've got a penalty to obviously to be applied to the end of his race time, and he hasn't been able to break away out of DRS, let alone 3 seconds. And again Merck under pressure from Wesker, and again Wesker chooses to stay behind. For what reason, I don't know. Maybe they just want to bring home the team finish, the double podium, as Matter, Tom Pretty squabbling away. Matter's got a few lap fresher tyres, and he is through on Tom Pretty. See if he can hold it though as they head down towards Cops, and obviously Tom will have DRS then heading down the hangar straight, but just pulling away this time for now is Matter, as Dan Morris reeling in Burt. This is for P6 then. Of course Burt has a penalty, as well as Tom Pretty now picks up one himself in his pursuit of Matter, who is now well out of DRS range now, as again Wesker gets close, but not close enough to make an overtake. As they're actually pulling in a little bit towards Venom. 1.9 seconds now in the gap between Merc and Venom. And maybe the idea is just to pull each other along with DRS, maybe just to get closer to Venom, but it's not quite close enough to obviously have a go. A few laps remaining now. As I wouldn't say the race is winding down, there's still a few positions to be decided here, but it's kind of been as you were for a lot of this race. I mean, Wesker has been sitting behind Merc for pretty much all this race. Adam sitting comfortably behind John, doesn't have to do anything. Dan Morris is really the only one who's going to be, I think, active in these last few laps, and he's now, well, I say active, he's going to try and get an overtake done on Bert. But after that, I mean, you know, it's 6 seconds between Bert and Adam, so Dan's unlikely to make that up in the last these last 3.5 laps that we're currently on. Nice, a bit of a tighter line then for Adam. It's going to be an interesting spot here if you can just keep within this range, heading out of Mackett's Beckett. So doesn't need to push at this stage and risk cutting a corner, because he has got obviously the penalty to be applied, but he's reeling in. John, he's going to go for a move here. John doesn't fight this. Goes a little bit to the right, but Adam, a simple move in the end, and Adam retakes P4. And can he break away now somewhat to where DRS won't be a problem? There goes Dan on Bert, the end of the hangar straight. Of course, much better tyres for Dan compared to Bert, and that's P6 for Dan. And he's got a long way. He's got 3 and a bit seconds to try and make up on his teammate in these last 3 laps. Not impossible, but see what he can do regardless. As then Adam, 1.5 seconds back of his 2 Williams there, a little bit closer again to Venom. I'm not sure why. I mean, Venom's just taking it easy. He's got 2 fresher tyres, so tyre rating is going to be the issue here. And John just a bit too far back then this time round on Adam. A little bit wide then as well through Brooklands. Won't do his cause any good either, as Swagan close to Tom Pritchard. That's for P9. Should be in a good position to make an overtake, possibly by the end of the hangar straight. We'll find out then as they negotiate sector 2's twists and turns. As we begin now to wind down on this one, and Weiberg actually gets moved on unsafe release. Of course, they were quite close to each other after they pitted. Weiberg about 2 seconds or so behind, and he's made that up, and he is past unsafe release, and that is for P11. No points, I'm afraid, looking like for Weiberg. It's been disappointing for him. Still Merc and Wesker line astern, and Dan's been a second on his teammate already, so maybe 5th place could be there for Dan. His teammate's dangerously close to being dropped out of DRS range on Adam, which would be the last thing he needs there, because to lose that toe and that DRS, that extra straight line speed, will only hinder his cause to try and keep 5th place ahead of his teammate. As we are now on the penultimate lap of this race, you can see Sway didn't get a chance to make a move there on Tom, but getting closer and closer. As for P9, of course, I do think Tom actually has a penalty, so I don't think this matters a ton, as Wesker Merc still line astern. Sway then will make this move very easy in the end. Oops, wrong car. Tom Brady does not have a lot of ERS left, so there you go then. Easy move for Sway. If you can just hold it around these 2 bends, he should be good. And that is P9 then for the sole remaining racing point. Obviously Timo retiring earlier in this race after a collision with SJP, who I believe spun out of cops, and then nothing that Timo could do to avoid it. Dan getting closer then. He's just less than a second of the gap he needs to take 5th place off his teammate on penalties, as Venom then begins his second last go around of these 2 corners and will cross the start finish line for the penultimate time as he begins the final lap of this race. And Wesker's just jumped out of DRS range now of his teammate. Credit where credit is due. You know, they qualified well. The races have been an issue for both of them. Oh, Wesker's got a problem because he's very, very slow. And now Adam is right behind him. And Wesker here's going to lose a podium if he's not careful. What's happened to Wesker all of a sudden? Adam's now got DRS, he's now going to sense a podium. But Wesker goes defensive. And Adam's going to try one down the inside. And there you go. So somewhere along the way, Wesker's made a mistake. And now has lost the podium. I thought for a sec maybe if... I want to check very, very quickly because I thought maybe there might be some gamesmanship going on. But no penalty for Merck, so it's not a matter of Wesker backing the pack up. He's made a mistake somewhere, and he's bottled the podium. I was just saying how, credit to them, they actually were going to get this race done, and they have, to be fair. But Wesker's really struggling for some reason. And he's not going to lose the place to Jono, because Jono's got a penalty, but remarkable, absolutely remarkable. Wesker has bottled the podium, I believe, once again. As now, VRT Venom rounds the final two corners. No sign of Wesker getting overtaken by Jono on track, but Venom then rounds the final corner and he wins the British Grand Prix ahead of Merck in second. Well done to Merck. Adam then picks up third place. Wesker then is going to hold on for fourth. Dan Marr setting the fastest lap time on the last lap. Did he have a penalty as well then? I'm not sure. Then IoT Matter across the line in seventh place. Great job from him. Bert 8th, Sway 9th, half a tenth off of Bert in the end. Tom Pretty crosses the line in 10th, and it's a little race then between Weiberg and Unsafe Release for 11th on the on the grid on the final result then. And there you go. There is your British Grand Prix. Late twist then with Wesker losing out. Did his tyres just absolutely die? Or I'm not too sure what the story was there, but there you go. Adam then taking the podium on the very last lap. Just the one Williams then up there, represented by Merck. But Venom then, I think, had this one in his pocket. I think he did manage it to a certain degree. I think the pace was definitely close, but I don't think he's under. I don't think he's under any pressure this race, all things considered. And he takes the win. And on the night where SH is not scoring points, he gets himself a little bit further back into this title race. But there you go. That's a shocking result at the end there for Wesker. Yeah, there you go. No penalties in the top four. Dan, I'm pretty sure Jono was over 3 seconds. Was within 3 seconds of Dan, so I think there's a problem there. But anyways, Venom wins ahead of Merck, and Adam then in third, Wesker then in fourth, Jono in fifth, Dan in sixth alone, RLT Matter in seventh. Good race from him. Bert 8th, Sway did a good job from get from P17 to P9, Tom Pushy 10th, Weiberg 11th, and an Unsafe Release then in 12th. We lost from this race Alibaba, Chubbs, SJP, Timo, Focky, Mark Demand, and Colours in a action-packed British Grand Prix. But that's going to do it for round number 10 of Division 2. Next up for TMC is Division 3. Excuse me, same track, same time. And for Division 2, I believe it's Hockenheim next. So that should be fun. Thanks for watching, and until next time.